Okay. How you doing?
I'm
Fine.
fine. How are you?
Thank you. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining for joining me on this channel, and thank you for gracing my invite. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm just going to be asking you a couple of questions about how your stay has been in the UK. Can you just introduce yourself first? Like,
My name is Bolaji. Bolaji, and what else should I say?
okay, what you do, education, where you studied.
Yeah, okay. My
Um,
name is Bolaji. Sadness. I qualified in Nigeria. I finished from School of Nursing, Lagos University Teaching Hospital. That's Luth in Lagos, and that was in 2015. Then I worked for a while in Lagos before moving to the UK in 2018. Yeah, and I am currently studying for my BSc, which will be completed this year. So I
wow.
hope, yeah, so I'm currently working in the UK now, and yeah. So
Okay.
that
And what part of UK do you stay in?
I stay in Berkshire in the UK, so Reading in Berkshire. So it's a southeastern part of England. So that's where I stay and
Okay.
work.
Okay. So what can you say about living in that area? Like, how has it been, like the cost of living and all?
Okay, yes. So Berkshire, like southeast is like literally part of the richest places to work, expensive places to live in the UK because we have quite a number of rich UK people living in the southeast region. The what's it called? Theresa May, the former prime minister, lives in Oxfordshire, which is also a part of Southeast. So there are also some notable people that live around Southeast. And another thing is South is close to London. London is also under Southeast, but because of the population of London and because it's the capital city, they've over the years to make it a separate entity from the Southeast, but London is also part of Southeast. So, and because London is the capital and there's a high concentration of people there, and because of high concentration of activities going on, it's just like comparing Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah, where Lagos is, Lagos and its environs. So because of the population and concentration and the activities going on in Lagos and the expensive lifestyle in Lagos, it trickles to other parts of areas that are surrounding Lagos. So that's the way it is here also, because Southeast is close to London, and London is expensive. So the expenses also trickles down to the areas around London. So where I stay is close to London. It's about 20 minutes train to London. And so people work in London and live where I am.
Okay.
So that's how close it is. And people that cannot afford London move down to where I am. So it's quite expensive here also because of the proximity to London.
Yeah.
So as compared to away places that are up north in the Midwest, in the, what's it called, Midlands, places like that. So the cost of living is quite on the high side here.
Okay.
And also it depends on the kind of life you have chosen to live.
Exactly. I was about to ask that. Then why did you decide to live in an expensive place when there are other places that are not expensive?
Yeah, because I actually did not really choose where to live in an expensive place, because nobody would really, except you moved from Nigeria to London. Of course, London will be expensive, so you chose that. But moving to a place like Berkshire, I don't want to say Reading because most people might not really know Reading, but when I say Berkshire, Berkshire is like kind of still popular. Berkshire is the county. So the county still has, is still well known than, what's it called, than saying Reading. So I moved to Berkshire from Nigeria, and just like everyone would get a job. When I moved in 2018, we still used agencies. They still allowed to be the middleman between employers and the employees, potential employees. So they gave me a couple of offers from different employers. I got one I was supposed to go to Portsmouth
Okay.
initially, but I think something happened, and because my employer actually I work with a nursing home, and they actually have different homes scattered around UK. So I was supposed to arrive at one of their homes in Portsmouth, but something happened, and they decided to put me in one of their homes in Berkshire. So I chose Portsmouth initially, but because I don't know the reason, maybe they couldn't take up any other, or maybe they had the field capacity then, and they didn't think it was necessary to get a new person. So they decided to move me to a place where they needed a new person. Maybe that was what happened. And so I did not really choose Berkshire. But even if I had chosen Berkshire, it was not like I knew how Berkshire was because I never lived there. It's just like someone who was born and raised in the UK trying to move to Nigeria. You obviously don't know what part of Nigeria is expensive and what part is not expensive. You only know that the capital cities are expensive. You don't know whether Ogun State is expensive. You only know that Abuja would be expensive, Lagos would be expensive, but you don't know whether Ogun State is expensive or whether Ibadan is expensive, stuff like that, until you get there and you start living there. So it was not like a first choice, really. It was just, okay, this is where I got, and okay, let me just go there and try it out. And also because it was close to London, I was also looking for a place that would be close to London. So I just felt like, okay, let me stay in Berkshire. And so I decided, I realized it was quite expensive when I began to live there. And when I began to compare it to the cost of living here to other parts of the UK. So that's it.
Okay. So what's the rent like in Berkshire? Like what's the average rent you can get for a one-bedroom apartment?
For a one-bedroom apartment, the first one-bedroom apartment I got, because when I first got to the UK, the employer would, according to their contract of employment or offer letter, they would provide you with accommodation, some for 1 month, some for 3 months, until you get your PIN, until after your scan, you get your PIN. So mine provided me accommodation for 3 months till I got my PIN the third month of joining them. And so I stayed in their accommodation until the third month. And after I got my PIN, and it was 3 months, and the accommodation was expiring, I needed to move out. So I did not move to, unlike other people, I did not move to a shared accommodation aside from the one the accommodation my employers gave to me for 3 months. So the first accommodation I got was a one-bedroom apartment. And I think the rent at that time was 700.
Wow.
Just the rent, just the rent alone,
Bills are not
700.
included.
Electricity is not included. Water is not included. You have to pay council tax also. Yeah. So it was 700, excluding all bills. So I lived there for, I think, about a year. Then I got my car. So it did not have parking. So because when I was trying to get the apartment then, I was because I was finishing my 3 months, and okay, I was just like, okay, let me get an apartment. And the apartment I found, although they said there was no parking permits for the apartment, but I went for. I did not have a car at that moment, and I was not thinking of like getting a car anytime soon. So I just felt, okay, let me go for the apartment. I don't need to bother about parking permits or not. So yeah, so I moved there. Then when I had a car, the house did not have a parking permit. So, and I applied for a parking permit to park on the streets, like on streets parking, because you cannot just park on the street here. You need to have a permit to park on the street. So I applied to the council that, okay, can I get an on-street parking? And they said my house is not entitled to have an on-street parking, except I applied to park at the council's car park. And the council's car park is like, I think would cost me about £200 every year, thereabouts. So, which is very expensive.
Yeah.
So I did, instead of me paying about £200, where I would still need to walk from my house to the car park, it's not really reasonable. So I decided to move out of the house. I looked for a house that has a parking. Obviously, it would be more expensive than the one I was staying before. So also a one-bedroom flat in around where my previous apartment was. So I got it. It has a parking permit. It has a parking, just the flat has a parking, so I don't even need to park on the street. So yeah, so I moved out of there to a new apartment that I'm currently in now, and it's a newer apartment compared to the one I was before. So because of these factors, the newness of the flat and the fact that it has a car park attached to it, it's more expensive than the other ones. So for this one, I pay 800 just for the rent.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
So what band is your council tax in? About how
My
much
council tax,
tax?
I can't remember if it's band A or band B, but I know I pay 115 every month. 150 pounds every month.
Wow.
Yeah.
So all your bill altogether runs to about £1,000 every month or thereabout. Yeah.
Over £1,000 every month.
It's quite expensive, so, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is expensive. Yeah. But that said, the kind of life you choose to live, you can live in expensive areas, but you can decide to live a cheap life in that expensive area. So the fact that I'm living in an expensive area does not really what's it called now? It's not really the reason why my rent is expensive per se. Although rents are expensive, but you can still, if you cannot afford getting a bedroom flat in an expensive area, there are cheaper means of living in an expensive area. You could do a shared accommodation, which would be a cheaper life in an expensive area. Do you understand? Although the cost of the shared accommodation might still be more expensive than the shared accommodation in up north or other places, but at least in some sense it's still kind of cheaper. Do you understand? So, but I don't. I cannot cope with
privacy.
The reason I love my privacy, I love my comfort. I don't like anyone dictating anything to me. I get upset easily. I get irritable. So anything that can cause trouble with me and any other person, I try to avoid it. And shared accommodation is a place that could, if you're not really patient, you can live with different kinds of people, different kinds of personalities, and they could trigger you, and it could lead to a lot of other things. So I just way of me guarding myself. Do you understand? From many triggers. So that's the reason I comfort my privacy. That's the reason I just chose to stay in a flat, 1-bedroom flat of my own.
Okay. So have you actually changed jobs since you got to the UK or not? Or you've been with your employer since then?
Since, because I really did not have a reason to change jobs, because I earn higher than NHS people. So it's not like the NHS where some trusts pay higher than some trusts, and people move between trusts in the NHS in their first year of coming to the UK. Me, I've right from time, I've always earned than NHS people, those that came before me, those that came with me, those that came after me. So there was really no motivation for me to move. Like, there was no financial motivation for me to move, because where do I want to move to? I'm comfortable with my nursing home. I'm comfortable with the amount I earn. If I have to move, then I have to move to the NHS if I want to, not to another nursing home. And the NHS cannot pay me what I'm earning at the moment. So there's no motivation for moving. And also, if I have to move now, I would have to start from the lowest cadre, because no matter the number of years you spend in the UK as a nurse, if you've not worked at the NHS, your first time of working in the NHS, you have to start from the lowest cadre, and the lowest cadre comes with the lowest pay. So it's just like, so it would be like me dropping from here. I was here, then because I'm going
Yeah.
here, it would affect everything. So, somebody who has been earning like this before and now come here, there's no way it would not affect the person. So there's no reason for me moving. And yeah, although I tried getting a second job, not like more, I tried getting a second job, I will still retain my employer and maybe just do some shifts to the NHS. And I got the job actually. The reason I applied for the job was not because of money. It wasn't because I needed more money. It was because I needed a clinical experience so I could sow my path to being a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
Because for you to be a nurse practitioner, it's really not possible under doing nursing home jobs. You need to move to the clinical area. And one of the places you can do that is the NHS. So you need to be working, if not full-time, you need to be working part-time, at least just be in that clinical setting, clinical environment, so I can told that path of being a nurse practitioner. But yeah, I got the job, but because of COVID, there was this safety concern that I needed to consider. That's, nursing home is mainly territory for old people.
Yeah, sure.
And the chances of me catching COVID in a clinical area is higher than me catching in the nursing home. So because of safety concern, that okay, if I started with the NHS, there's no way I wouldn't catch COVID, because I called the ward manager, the ward I was supposed to resume at. I called her and asked her what the COVID situation was like. Are there cases on the ward? They said yes, there are cases on the ward, but there's no special PPE. There's just the face mask, gloves, and apron. So, which we all know is not really an effective protection against it. So there is no way I wouldn't catch it. So I decided to decline the offer because if I can, it wouldn't be fair for me because of my own personal gains. I catch COVID. Even if it doesn't affect me or I don't die from it, if I pass it to any of my residents, it could spread and some of them could die because of their vulnerability. So that wouldn't sit well with my conscience because she understands. So that was the reason I declined. And I don't think I would take up NHS job anymore. I found another path now that I want to do, and it's not clinical dependent.
Okay. Wow. Actually, do you mind sharing how you went about your nursing degree? Because I actually also finished from a nursing school and I'm looking into doing my degree anytime soon. But I really don't know how I want to go about that. So do you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah. So the one of the nursing it's top up BSc top up.
Okay.
So I'm the BSc top up as someone who is working full time. You may not be able to combine full time study with full time work. So you need to find the kind of study that would go well with your full time work. So I opted for an online nursing study, and that's with the University of Derby. So all you just need to do is to search online, and I think there are also other universities, but I think University of Derby is kind of popular with online nursing studies. So yeah, so you just go online, apply for the course. They take in students in September, and I think in summer and spring, I think. I'm not sure. But I think I got in September of 2019. Was it September 2019 or January 2019? I can't remember. Yeah, it's a 2-year course. So I think I got in January 2019, 2020 rather. Well, no, 2019, January 2019. Yeah. So it's a 2-year course, and I'll be finishing in 2021. So that's it's strictly online, 100%. You do your study online, you do your assessments online, then you do your research work, research projects at the end of the whole course of 2 years. So that's
What's the school fee? What's the
yeah.
pay?
It's there's a what's it called? There's an installment plan you could opt for. So if you don't want to pay in full, so I paid in installments. So I really cannot say how much it is if you want to pay in full because they take out their money every month, about £200, over £200 every month.
Wow.
So yeah, so
So you pay it over
yeah,
the period of the 2 years or it's extended?
over the period of because each year has a fee. I think each year is about roughly £5,000 per year. So if you'll be doing 2 years, you'll be paying about 10,000. So you have to spread the cost of that 10,000 within the space of 2 years. So they deduct it every month. So they calculate it and plan it out, and they take out the money from your account. So that's
I think that's really easy to pay then.
yeah, it's the installment plan is easy to pay. So every information is on their website about payments, about how to enroll, and everything is on their website.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, so what mistakes can you say you made when you first arrived in the UK? And if you're given the chance to start again, like you would not make the same mistakes?
What mistakes did I make? I don't. Okay, the mistake I've made is okay. Maybe I did not start managing my finances on time. And maybe if I have to start again, then I would take charge of my finances in time so I can quickly plan to, because this year will be my 3rd year in the UK, and there are so many people, well, not people that I know, but obviously there'll be people who haven't even spent up to 3 years, or who don't spend up to 3 years in the UK before getting their own property, I mean their own houses. And for someone who is earning the kind of money I earn, I should have been able to at least save up to get my own property and stuff. Yeah, so that's like one of the mistakes, is not taking charge of my finances in time. Yeah, so
Okay.
that every other thing is going as planned.
Okay. And are you looking at maybe moving to somewhere else in the UK? Maybe moving to Scotland or Northern Ireland, like somewhere
No,
away from England?
no, I
Oh,
prefer to, because one, England, as you know, in Nigeria, we only do not move for just, well, for me, I don't want to generalize it. For me, and from my own perspective, I think the only reason people move is not just for financial reasons. People also want to move to places where, places that have a name, that have a pedigree. Do you understand? For example, if you were in Nigeria and someone says, "Oh, is relocating to," or you hear that someone has relocated to Sweden, and you hear that somebody else has relocated to Canada, there is a way you will place, even though both of them are abroad, there's a way you will place Canada and Sweden. There's an automatic thinking that, oh, somebody in Canada will obviously do better or do well, earn more than someone in Sweden. There's just that unconscious thought. So although both of them are abroad, so I see that when it comes to England also, in all the countries in the UK, and even in Europe in general, England is like a top tier country. So, and when you tell people you are in England, there's still that kind of unconscious thought that, oh, England is still kind of one of the best places you can go to in Europe, as compared to saying you are in Scotland or you are in Northern Ireland. So or you are in Wales. So I don't think I can relocate to all those countries. I'll still stay in England, although maybe move to other parts of England, but I'll still retain my
in England.
England.
Okay. And lastly, like, what advice do you have for new migrants that are just coming into the country? Maybe nurse.
Yeah, new migrants or anybody, nurses or anybody in general, that they should just they should take things slowly. There's a pathway to everything already here. So it's not like the country we're coming from, where you have to know somebody, where you have to be able to bribe somebody, where you have to be ready to cut corners. Here, there's a pathway to everything, and every information you need could easily be gotten online. Also, all you just need to do is one of the ways to achieve your goal, or to be on the right path easily, is by properly managing your finances. So if you're able to manage your finances, if you're able to save up, if you're able to build your credit score or credit history, yeah, I think you'll be fine. And there's really that's just the advice. Just do whatever you have in plan to do, but make sure you know how to manage your finances, my finance management, because you have to think and plan also. You have to set a goal for yourself, and one of the major thing about goal setting is that it must be smart, and there should be a timing. It should be specific. It should be measurable. There should be a timing also attached to every goal. You could decide to plan, create a short term, a medium term, or a long term goal. So depending on the goal on the kind of goal you plan, to achieve. You need to make sure you set a time and achieve those goals within the time set for yourself. So just enjoy yourself. There's really no stress. Don't work too hard. Don't be too lazy either, because you are basically here for the money. So you need to make some money and you need to make some investments for yourself. So that's just it. And enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Okay, correct. Thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah.
Good.
Bye.
How to make me feel right. I